let's get into some NFL games on Sunday. We're going to start with the Vikings versus the Lions. The Lions are -2, over under 51.5. So this game's a wild line. I don't know what's going on, but Vegas clearly knows something that we don't. So I'm going to hear from Trey first to give me some trends.
This is one of the highest totals of the weekend, and I think Vegas tries to do that because then make us think, hey, you know what, this total's too high. I'm going to bet the under here, and I feel like that's what they're trying to do with the Army-Navy game with setting it so low. But we know better. We're going with the over here at over 51.5. I think that's the play. The spread trends were not very good for either team, but if I had to choose an advantage, it was the Vikings. The Vikings have been pretty good against the spread in their last 5 games. But the trends for the total picks is really good. The over is 5-1 in the last 6 games between these two teams. The over is 4-1 in the Vikings' last 5 versus the NFC North. And the over is 4-1 in the Lions' last 5 versus the NFC North as well. And the over is 6-2 in the Lions' last 8 home games. Lions are at home. Jared Goff loves playing in the Dome. Kirk Cousins is already used to playing in the Dome in Minnesota. So I think both these teams are going to be electric on the offensive end, and I think they both might score 30 if I'm being honest. So 51.5 is a sure bet for me.
All right, so you're on the over 51.5. This game, I just don't know. I thought coming in the week it'd be a trap game for the Vikings, so I figured the Lions would be the favored by or underdogs by 3.5. Now I'm wondering why the line hasn't swung back to the Vikings. So regardless if I'm the rat or the trap, I'm gonna take the Vikings money line because they're just the better team. I have to take the Vikings money line. It makes no sense, but I'll take the cheese and take the Vikings money line. Teats?
Well, I mean, I will say this: did you see the locker room celebration from the Lions? The last 5 weeks, Dan Campbell loves to fire up his team after a win, and he keeps the momentum going. So the Lions are on a roll, so I feel like that's why Vegas loves them and the public loves them even more. But I think the Vikings are easily the better team. Sorry,
the public loving them scares me even the most. Like that terrifies me. But Teats, how about you?
I do like that money line bet just because you're also getting plus money. So like, anytime you can chase plus money, you might as well do it. I'm kind of with you guys. I don't really know how I feel about this game. I think that there's not really even arguably a safe bet. I feel like the over 51.5 is going to be the best bet that I would take. It's just really weird to see the Lions, even though they're at home, 1.5 point favorites against a Vikings team who's only dropped 2 games this season. Yeah. Like the Vikings kind of in an overall state, they're very well balanced. They're very well geared. They can win a lot of games. The Detroit Lions are one of the best offensive teams in the country. But on the flip side, they're also one of the worst defensive teams in the country. And the fact that they've done what they've done over the past 4 weeks is outstanding. I just don't think that this is the game I want to deal with the spread or deal with a money line. I think I'm just going to stay with the over.
All right, so 2 overs in the Vikings. I'm not trying to dog on the Lions. I think they're getting better, but they're just not. I just don't think they're there yet. I think the Vikings are the way better team, so I'm going to stick with Vikings money line. But let's move on to the next game for the NFL. We have the Eagles -7.5 versus the Giants. Over under is 45. Teats, I'll start with you.
Eagles -6.5. Do I need to say more?
Sorry,
7.
7, yeah.
So here's the deal, though. Here's the deal,
point.
though. Here's the reason why I said 6.5, because I thought this through. The Eagles have been doing pretty well covering past couple weeks. I wanted to buy half a point. When I wrote this all down, it was at 7.5, so it was a full point. So if we can get to 6, I just don't like the idea of even like going and tying a game. I don't like the idea. I mean, you win or you lose. So I'm either going to win or I'm going to lose on this bet. I've rode the Eagles all season long. I have a bunch of L's in my back pocket. I've got a couple wins. I want to see if we can keep riding with it. The Giants just don't have a whole lot offensively anymore. I think they're just kind of starting to fizzle out. But we're also in New York. It's a conference rival game. We'll see.
So you're on Eagles -7.5.
Eagles -6.5. I bought half a point.
Okay, give me the Giants with the points. Hungry dog runs fast when it's hungry. I'd rather die than take the Eagles. So give me the Giants with the points. Trey?
Yeah, and I'm going to give you some trends to back you up, Jesse. The Eagles are 1-6 ATS in their last 7 road games. The Giants are 4-1 ATS in their last 5 home games. Giants are 7-2 ATS in their last 9 games overall. And finally, the underdog in this matchup is 5-2 ATS in the last 7 games. So the Giants plus 7.5 is the play. That's what I saw it at earlier. It dropped a half point, but I'm still, like Teats said, I don't like to push, so I'm going to buy the half point at where it's at now and take the Giants plus 7.5 because I don't think that they're going to lose by more than a touchdown here. Brian Dable knows how to get the boys buzzing, and he's going to make it a competitive game.
All right, so Giants, and the Dirty Birds for Teats. I
Yeah.
hate this so much, but all right, let's move on to the Jets versus the Bills. I'm just realizing that this slate is loaded. The spreads are kind of high, but I mean, there's good games here. Jets versus Bills. Bills are minus 10. Over under is 43. Teats, back to back. Go again.
All right, I'll go back to back. They're my dog of the week. I will take the money line, but for the bettors out there, for everyone listening, I would say plus 10 is a very solid line to be taking. The Jets have been defensively very good. Sauce Gardner's been doing good. DJ Reed's been doing pretty good. So secondary-wise, they've been doing a very good job. Offensively, they've got 2-3 running backs that honestly can at any given time go off. They have that Knight guy who just recently had himself a game. Michael Carter comes back healthy. They've got some weapons. And with Mike White under center, he does not care. He will sling the ball. He will throw it wherever he wants to. It does not matter. That could be bad. That could be good. We'll see. I also like the over in this game, honestly. Both of these offenses do have the capacity to score. Both defenses do have the ability to lock down. But I think that Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they'll be getting at least one touchdown combo between them, and I would like to think that the Jets can put up some points against this Bills defense.
Teats, I'll have you know I had Bills minus 10 written down, but I'm going to flip. I'm going to flip because we're friends. I'm going to take the Jets money line. I'm going to ride the money line with you. The Bills just haven't been beating teams like we're used to seeing.
Right.
They haven't been dominating teams lately, and the Jets are very competitive, and they have a really good defense. So I'll take the Jets money line, riding with you just because we're friends, all right?
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are a little crazy. I do expect this game to get ugly pretty quickly. The Bills are too good. I don't buy the Mike White hype. We saw what happened to him last year, and we're just waiting for it to happen to him again this year. And I think the Bills' defense is the defense that it's going to happen against. So I'm going to go under the 43.5 for my play. The under is 8-2 in the Bills' last 10 games overall. The under is 6-1 in the Bills' last 7 versus AFC opponents. The under is 4-0 in the Jets' last 4 versus NFC opponents. The under is 5-2 in Jets' last 7 games overall. And in this matchup, in the last 7 matchups, the under is 5-2. Neither of these two teams are going to score. I think the Bills might score 25, and the Jets might get lucky to score 2 touchdowns. I like the Bills here. Their defense is really good, and the Jets' defense might even be better than the Bills, so I like the under.
The trends don't lie.
Under in the Jets, I guess.
Okay.
But, all right, let's move on to the final game. Sunday Night Football. Miami minus 3.5 versus the Chargers. Over under is 53.5. Trey, I'll start with you.
Oh, this game's going to be pretty exciting. I bet on the Dolphins last week, and they burned me. So you know what I'm doing? Fading them. I'm going with the Chargers plus 3.5. There's honestly not very many good trends for the Chargers, so I'm just going to go with my gut here. There's a lot of good trends for the over, but at 53.5, I'm not quite for sure if I'm a big fan of that, but I'm just still going to give you guys the trends because I'm Trey Trends. Over is 4-0 in Dolphins' last 4 road games. Over is 4-1 in Dolphins' last 5 games overall. And the over is 7-2 in the Chargers' last 9 home games. So the trends are there for the over. But I'm going with my gut here. I think Herbert's going to show up. I think Austin Eckler is going to score 2 touchdowns against the Dolphins. So I'm going Chargers plus 3.5.
Yeah, just like you're taking the Chargers with your gut, I'm going to take the Dolphins with my gut, minus 3.5. They were embarrassed last week against San Fran, and I called that game. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of how this Dolphins team works. So I'm going to take Dolphins minus 3.5 to put it on the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Teats?
I have in my notes, I have the Dolphins minus 3.5. The thing is that it's going to be interesting. Both the Chargers and the 49ers have very elite front 7. They've got some very good edge rushers, pass rushers, and Tua last week did not look good. Honestly, I would say a lot of the blame came on Tua for that loss. Does he redeem himself, or does he kind of fall apart? But we have to remember that the Los Angeles Chargers are the LA Chargers. They love to choke away close games. So I think that the Dolphins will take this one. Money line is just not appealing, so minus 3.5.
I like it. So Dolphins, and the Chargers for that game.